What's going on, you guys? Riley here. Today I am super excited to bring you guys the 2019 Chevrolet Blazer RS review. This is a video that I have been so excited to do ever since these things came out, and I am so excited to bring this video to you guys today. It's all kinds of features and cool stuff packed into this thing, so I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. So let's get started with the review of my new favorite SUV. So now I'll start by saying this is my new favorite SUV for about the $50,000 price range. This one has just about every option you can get on an RS model Blazer, which is pretty much every option you could really think of, plus some. So we'll get into that a little bit more. We'll talk about the pricing, the features, and that whole sort of thing. But first off, just wanted to give you guys a nice little exterior walk around of the new Blazer. So a few things to note. You got the nice little RS badge in the front. The RS package is essentially the sporty package. So if you want to think of it in a way of this is a Camaro SUV, that's kind of how I think of them. But overall, the front end kind of has some resemblance of the new Camaro. The grille looks very similar to a ZL1 grille, which looks really cool on an SUV. And then up here, you actually have the daytime running lights. That's actually not the headlights. The headlights are located down below. So kind of an interesting little nifty design there. Also here in the front, you have a front camera. This thing has cameras all around it, so we'll talk more about that later. But this one, I specifically waited for an all blacked out one to show up at the dealership lot, and I'm really glad I did because I think all black really looks good on this car. It looks super aggressive, super mean, and I'm really trying to convince my wife to get one of these because she loves them, I love them. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger on it, but these things are just cool. Now, as I mentioned, this one does have a ton of options for an RS Blazer. So one of the big option groups that this car has is going to be the Sun and Wheels package, which gets you a panoramic sunroof and these awesome 21-inch gloss black aluminum wheels. And I have to say, those are some of the coolest wheels that I've seen on any like modern SUV, or really any SUV in general. But here is the window sticker of this bad boy. So this one is $48,000, and this has pretty much every option you could ever really want. So you can pause the video now and take a look at everything there. But essentially, the Enhanced Confidence and Driver Confidence package gets you all of the really cool features, and then the Sun and Wheels package gets you the, well, the wheels look cool and the sunroof is nice to have on the inside. But that is pretty much your window sticker with options, and then here is your fuel economy information that the EPA rates it at, although I bet you that it will actually get even better than that. It does have a 9-speed automatic transmission paired up to a 3.6-liter V6. So you're not going to win any races in this thing. It's not going to be the quickest vehicle out on the road. However, it is absolutely plenty. And moving on to the interior, now you probably see why I love these things so much. I think the interior is just completely perfect, and it's so darn cool in here. I get so excited every time I look inside of these things. So more on the interior in just a second, but just wanted to give you guys a quick little walk around. I know I'm getting a bunch of highway noise now in the shot, but there is your rear of the Blazer, and very, very practical SUV. A lot of people could use this for their daily driver, and I don't think they would have any complaints and ever want really anything that this does not have, except for maybe missing a third row seat. But aside from that, you have plenty of storage. Seats fold down. I have stuff in that seat, so it's not going to fold down all the way. You have Chevy's new cargo management system, which helps to have two hands available, but you can essentially slide this thing forward and back. I went ahead and moved it forward just so I can continue on to this part, but under here you have even more storage and also a spare tire and a jack, so that's always nice to have. But nice if you have like eggs or something at the grocery store and you want to store them down there out of the way. And then we also have two little cubby holes here on the sides of the trunk to put stuff. And then also this little rear shade, which just kind of goes up like so. So if you have groceries and you don't want it to get super hot, or if you want to keep your belongings back here private where nobody can see in, then that's a good option. So as I said, the new Blazer is extremely practical. I mean, obviously you have a ton of room back there. And then if you push the seat back here, you have a ton of room. And something cool I love about the Blazer is that there's actually a little lever down here underneath the seat. So this is what it's like with the seat all the way up. You pull the lever and you can actually push the seat back to give you even more legroom. So you can adjust it just as you would a front seat, But for the back, also you have this lever here, which you can use to recline it. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can recline it for additional reclining space. So it's nice that Chevy didn't forget about the backseat passengers. You're totally comfortable back here. My mom owns a Grand Cherokee. I personally find the backseat a lot more comfortable in the Blazer. It's just a little bit softer leather. You have a lot more room, and that's nice when you're spending long amounts of time in the back of an SUV. Also, you have USB-C, USB, and a 120 volt plug here in the rear. But overall, I would say the back seat on this thing is plenty large. I'm 5'11", and I sit super comfortable here in the back seat. I sit down, I mean, you could probably tell I have a lot of room between me and the passenger seat, which could go up a good amount if it needed to. All right, moving on to the interior of the Blazer from the driver's side now. This is where things get even better in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and start it up just so we can bring it to life. And one of the favorite parts for me is this all digital gauge cluster here. So the steering wheel, even though it's not quite a flat bottom, it kind of has a flat bottom little vibe down here. So it's nice, it doesn't get in the way of your knees or legs. Also, just moving on to the center stack here, it's the new updated General Motors little infotainment system. Everything is way easier to use. The colors are more vivid. It's just an overall much better system. I have it plugged into my iPhone here, so it's wanting to connect Apple CarPlay. But aside from Apple CarPlay, you know, there's all these different little apps that you can go play with in here. The camera, which is also really cool. So it actually has a 360-degree camera there on the left. So if I drive around and try to park in a parking spot based off of where the wheel is angled, it will adjust, and you can see basically a bird's eye view of your Blazer driving into a parking spot. So you also have a front camera that you can play with, rear cameras that you can play with. I mean, it is just insane how many views. If you want to see how close you are to a curb on the side, well, there you go. It's very weird, the things that this thing can do. I mean, that's like as if a camera is following, it's like a drone is following behind you, and that's what it looks like. I mean, it's pretty crazy what this thing can do. Everything else is pretty much what you'd expect. You have your navigation screen, which is actually really modern and probably the most updated navigation screen I have seen, so that's pretty nice. And then just, you know, your basic audio. Moving on from that, GM's pretty sweet rear view camera, so you can actually have a camera turned on behind the vehicle when you're driving. The thought behind that is that, let's say you have a bunch of big boxes and that rear window is covered, then you can turn this camera on and still see what's going on behind you. So pretty nice and thoughtful. As I said earlier, it is the full panoramic sunroof, so you press the button once and it will go halfway, and then, oh no, it actually goes all the way. I lied. Well, apparently it goes all the way in the Blazer, and yeah, I mean, that's really sweet. And then you just press the button one more time and it will go ahead and close for you. So it's nice, you don't have to hold that down. Also, sunglass holder up here, and just a bunch of little features here and there. Something else that's a little extra that I saw and I was kind of like, why did they do that? Is there's a button up here that's labeled glove box. You press that and the glove box comes down. So, I mean, they could have just used a handle, but I guess they were like, hey, we'll put a button there. So, well, there's your glove box button. Air conditioning controls are here, very similar to a Camaro, honestly. It's kind of cool that they took that out of here. You do have heated and cooled seats thanks to that enhanced confidence driver package. That thing really does give you a lot of different features. Part of the RS package would be all this red stitching, all of the red trim, and the red underneath the leather seats here. I mean, it overall is just extremely sporty and modern in here, and I just can't say enough good things about it. Where I'm sitting, I'm extremely comfortable. You have wireless charging, forward collision warning, all this modern safety features that you would want and expect in a 2019 vehicle. This pretty much has. Okay, so now we will take out the new Blazer for a little spin. I mean, I could sit here for a very long time and explain to you every little feature that this car has, but we'd be here for quite a long time because it has, quite honestly, just that many. A few other things that I didn't note is that down here next to the gear selector, so we'll put it in drive, you also have different little modes that you can put the car in. So there's like a race mode, or what do they call it? Let's see, it's probably sport mode. Sport mode on, then you have a snow mode, and then the normal driving mode is, I guess, normal driving mode. They didn't give the normal one a name, but it's the normal little road emblem. So we'll go ahead and take this thing out for a drive. A few other things I didn't mention: it has wireless charging, it has a Bose sound system, which sounds really, really good. Like I said, the 9-speed transmission makes everything shift extremely smooth, and it's just quiet, refined, and everything you would really hope for and imagine in your perfect daily driver SUV that looks good, looks sporty, and it's comfortable. And I mean, it checks every box except it does not have the exhaust sound of a V8. Aside from that, every box for me is completely checked. It would be really cool if they put a V8 in these things. I mean, how cool would that be? The Trail or the Blazer SS makes a return with a V8. That'd be sweet. Maybe just lower it a little bit, put some loud exhaust on it. That'd be really cool. This is a little bit more practical, gets better gas mileage. So will they put a V8 in this thing? Probably not, but the V6 is pretty much plenty for most people. I will say the one feature that this thing is missing would be the heads-up display. I'm kind of surprised it's not in here, and I don't believe it's an option in any Blazer. I'm gonna have to double check on that. So that's one feature that Chevy is like known for putting in most of their stuff, and it's not here. So I kind of miss out on that. But aside from not having heads-up display, I think pretty much every feature I could really think of, this has. So setting off now on our maiden voyage. And like I said, the digital speedometer, very nice touch. It's very modern, and it's something that is just appreciated by an owner. It gets a little boring looking at a boring little screen all the time. So it's nice that this one's modern and updated. And I mean, I guess the whole car is modern and updated. It's a first year for this vehicle, so Chevy pretty much threw every modern aspect that they had at this thing, and it shows. And I appreciate that as a consumer, not as a salesperson, but as a consumer, I appreciate this, and this is nice to me. All right, so we'll go over here and head to a little back road now. It's a little bit more bumpy, and we'll get a feel for the overall suspension. Now, like I said, it's not a race car. Don't expect it to be. It's not a Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT competitor. This is just kind of going after your basic Grand Cherokee, and it kind of just does everything, but it's not a sports car. With that being said, you put your foot into it, and it's actually very, very surprising. I did not expect that. I actually did not expect that at all. It's the same 3.6 liter V6 from the V6 Camaros, and I know the V6 Camaro is actually very quick for a V6. It's actually very impressive, but it's actually very impressive in a SUV. I was shocked. Well, I guess if that's the case, then it does check pretty much every box for me. I'm very impressed. This thing's actually a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna be, and it's smooth, it's quiet. I feel very isolated from the outside world. I've really liked these things ever since they got debuted, and now after driving one, this is the first time I've driven one, so you're getting my true first reaction. After driving one, I like it even more, and yeah. I have no use for this thing, but I want one. You actually get a decent amount of room in there with another USB, USB-C, and 12-volt outlet. And I mean, I'm just impressed that they fit all these features and this design, this sportiness, all into something for under $50,000 with, you know, a lot of options. It's not like you're buying a base model vehicle with no options, and you're getting a lot for your money with this. You really are. So if you or anybody you know is in the market for some type of SUV, I mean, SUVs are so hot right now. They account for pretty much 50% of vehicles that our entire dealership sells. Everybody wants an SUV or a crossover or just something of that sort. But SUVs are the new hot thing, and I would say that this particular SUV is definitely the one to get, at least in my opinion. So with all of that being said, I'm genuinely not trying to come across as like I'm trying to sell this car, come buy it from me, but genuinely from a consumer standpoint, forget the fact that I even work for Chevrolet. This is a badass vehicle. I love it. And if you're in the market for one and you just so happen to be close to Houston, I'd be glad to sell you one. I will probably be giddy, just as giddy as I am right now, selling you one, just because I really do love these things that much. It is probably my favorite vehicle that Chevy is selling right now, aside from, like, you know, the Corvettes and stuff like that. But out of everything else that Chevy sells, this is it. To me, this is perfect. I think anybody that buys one of these would be extremely happy. I don't really know how you could complain on this thing. The interior is like leather and like nice quality, good sound system. So if you guys have $50,000 to spend on an SUV, what do you buy? I would be interested to read down below in the comments what you guys would suggest. So there it is, guys, the 2019 Chevrolet Blazer RS. So like I said, I do work for a Chevy dealership, so I do sell Chevys. So if you're in the market for one of these things, come and see me. Work at Parkway Chevrolet down in Houston, Texas, or really Tomball, Texas. Ask for Riley and I'd be very happy to take care of you, whether you're looking for a Blazer, a Camaro, or anything else in between. I'm super impressed with the new Blazer. We have a whole bunch of them to choose from, anything from the base models that start around $35,000 all the way up to the Premier, which is the top of the line one that go a little bit over 50. To me, the perfect sweet spot is to get an RS with the options that this one has, all blacked out. This is my ideal spec, which is why I picked this one for the review. And like I said, I've been waiting a long time for that spec to show up. We have all these other ones, and I almost picked a few of these different ones, but when the all black one showed up, I was like, yep, that is the one. But like I said, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, guys. All right, I'm just trying to film a review and we got a wasp right there. I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. Help! Help!